Salmon, aka Diz, and this is the Force Always.
Here I am, coming from Melbourne, Australia, with another Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews type of show on YouTube. There it is. Hoodies are still on. It's still mild, cool here. We're getting into summer here in Melbourne, Australia. It's going to take a little while. Melbourne, Australia is renowned for that. But let's get into the Star Wars news. And before that, remember to subscribe to this channel, as this is a weekly news, views, reviews, interviews type of show. Anyway, Porgs, soft toys, they're coming soon. That's right, Porgs. They are the new bird-like alien character that's going to be found on Ahch-To, which is where Luke Skywalker is still on since The Force Awakens. That's episode 7. So in The Last Jedi, we're going to be introduced to these new sort of little fun characters, which I'm sort of digging, but they're coming in the form of a soft toy in your toy stores, especially on the midnight session of these toys being launched, which is called Force Friday. Around the world, you'll be able to do this. If you want to stay up to midnight or get up to go there at midnight, you'll get, you know, all the Star Wars toy lines first. It's only a couple of weeks away. Speaking of the event, Snoke, which is the evil character that we were introduced to in The Force Awakens, episode 7. This vulnerable evil character, which I yet to learn a bit more about, but his throne room is going to be as a toy with all the little characters involved, and when you close it up, it becomes a BB-8, a massive BB-8. What relation that has, I don't know, but that's going to be one of the other toy releases. It's a bit more directed to the, you know, maybe 8-year-old type of boy or girl, but it looks interesting. I may buy a Porg soft toy, but that could take a bit too much room. But anyway, that's coming out as well. That's some reveals with some of the toy merchandise coming out. Force Friday, which is September 1. September 1. Mark that on your calendar, midnight, if you want to get the stuff first, or if you even want to get stuff before it gets sold out for the next day. To more news, Mark Hamill says stay away from any of the Last Jedi marketing from now to then, which is pretty obvious, but as I'm sort of reporting these stories and things like that, I'll keep myself cautious, but I will be a part of what happens up until The Last Jedi and beyond. But he's suggesting to just stay away, and will make the experience of seeing The Last Jedi better, which is obvious, but it's up to you if you want to do that. EW in the last week have been busy, I tell you. It's been about a week ago since we've got images, information, you know, character ideas from EW, which is Entertainment Weekly. The magazine's a little bit hard to get here in Australia. You'd have to go to a specialised magazine joint to find this magazine. So a lot of my stories are coming from the online sort of information at this stage, but it showed, you know, a great shot of Canto Bight's casino, which, you know, I was in a bit doubt of Canto Bight generally, but seeing this casino is really transforming my ideas that Canto Bight could be much better than first thought on my behalf. It looked to me sort of like a Jabba's palace sort of feel, had that grit to it, but stacks of images, stacks of information, you know, about Kylo Ren being the one, as said by Luke Skywalker apparently in the new story, The Last Jedi. Check that out. So EW has been making moves out there. To more news, speaking of the EW information, it has been reported Luke Skywalker, aka Mark Hamill, for real, he has said in the film that Kylo Ren was the chosen, or is the chosen one. What that is actually referring to at this stage We don't know. It could be on his viewpoint, it could be an overall sort of thing, it could be the chosen one thing from way back in the prequels. Don't know, but let's just wait to see what happens with that. To more news, Snoke's character has been confirmed that he is not a puppet. He is going to be a performance capture character. And that's, to me, great news, because Andy Serkis, who plays Snoke, is great at doing this. If you don't know his work, just take a look of any of the Planet of the Apes films of recent, and you will just see the strength. And he's obviously been in Lord of the Rings, being Gollum, and that was fantastic in itself. But if you really want to see real intricate work by Andy Serkis, Planet of the Apes, any of them, especially because my favourite Planet of the Apes was number 2, but 3's out, pretty much still out now, and check that one out, War for the Planet of the Apes. But to more news, Ron Howard has been a great ambassador for Star Wars in general. He's been tweeting on his Twitter account lots of images from the young Han Solo film that's yet to be titled. Some great images. Now it's leading into videos, short little videos of certain things. In the last week we saw where speeders die, the actual speeders that they ride, where they die being burnt out or something like this. But just great looking sort of tweets, photos in these tweets, you know, and videos. It's really, I think, better advertising coming from Ron Howard than that I've seen from the whole Disney sort of thing. Besides that Last Jedi poster, that was truly amazing. So check out Ron Howard on Twitter. He is really, really good. Speaking of more news, Benicio del Toro, he's going to be an actor that's going to be playing a guy that we know as DJ in The Last Jedi. There's been a lot of mystery behind this guy. We don't know too much. Besides, now we've got to know that he's going to be a code breaker, and that's great. I love that term. I love that title. He's definitely not going to be anyone we've seen before, which I was thinking that it could be somebody from Rebels that we may know, or somebody else than we've possibly known. But we've got to know this character, we're going to get to know this character from a fresh start. But he's going to be a code breaker, and I love that term and that title. So, to more reveals for The Last Jedi, Rey in this film, The Last Jedi, will get to know who her parents were. Now, I'm not one that buy into this whole Rey, who her parents were. It's not, to me, a great part of this storytelling idea, but I will be interested, but it won't be emphasized massively. She will get to know who her parents are finally in The Last Jedi. That's been confirmed by Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi. So to more news, September 4, we could be getting a trailer for the Rebels animation. That's a Rebels animation cartoon type sort of series that's on TV. Disney XD, I think it is. We could be getting a trailer on September 4, because in Canada there's going to be a convention. Dave Filoni, who directs or produces all these type of things, will be attending this, and we'll be going there with some advertising material. We're thinking the trailer's going to be there, so watch out September 4 on YouTube or StarWars.com. You may get that. Two more news. This last week has been a great week for like tons of information when it comes to The Last Jedi, you know, photos and information and character backgrounds and stuff like that. But I think this is all working up to a certain thing that could be happening at the end of this month that I'm predicting, which is October 28 in America, October 28, which is a Wednesday, where they could drop the actual The Last Jedi teaser 2 or trailer 2 or trailer 1 or whatever it is, the next trailer with The Last Jedi. I think they're going to be dropping that, and watch out for October 28th, that's Wednesday, but for us in Australia it will be October 29, that will be early Thursday morning. That's when time sort of is difference between America and Australia. As you get it October 28, we're getting it October 29, but in the middle of the night. I'm used to that. But watch out, I reckon they're going to drop a character that we've already seen like way back. Could be Yoda, I don't know. Let's just watch out. To more news and a final piece of information, George Lucas has been whispering in Kathleen Kennedy's ear about certain aspects about storytelling with Star Wars, which is obvious that it would still be happening. Kathleen Kennedy would sort of seek the advice from the creator, so he doesn't have a great input to the larger storytelling ideals for Star Wars anymore, he's retired. But I think he has still urges to sort of whisper certain things, but that's one of the pieces of news for this week. So that's the news for this time around. Let's get into the views. Views are not predictions. Views are my story input telling ideas for anything Star Wars. This time around it's about The Last Jedi, which is coming up. It's so close. It's about 120 days till The Last Jedi. How close is that? It's amazing. But my view this time is about how the journey of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. I would like the portrayal of Luke Skywalker from the start to the finish to be all about depression, almost suicidal thoughts, real darkness, hermit, like unenthusiasm, everything like that. Just an unwillingness to just get up and keep rocking, as I say. But only to the last moment will he find that just glimpse of hope, and just find it again. But at that point, being a cliffhanger type of sort of scenario, I don't know, hanging from a cliff or something like that, and we don't know the fate of The Last Jedi. He's technically going to be seen as The Last Jedi at that moment, but we don't know if he's actually going to be The Last Jedi until episode 9. We'll have to wait for that reveal. As annoying that would be, as great that will be as a storytelling idea, this story, The Last Jedi, will have one of the most annoying to be continued type of story endings, but for a good reason. To really build up 9 and to also have the cycle of Star Wars continue. I like the cycle of storytelling in Star Wars, the first, the second and the third, in either the prequels, the originals, or the sequels as we're calling them at the moment. So I'd like to see Luke go through just a whole journey of badness, ugliness, hermit sort of feel until the very last minute where he just finds a glimmer of hope, and in that moment then his life and the whole Jedi life is put in limbo, and we won't know what happens until episode 9, Star Wars episode 9. That's my views this time around. It's not a prediction, it's a storytelling idea. I'm sure that's, thought by a lot of people out there, but it's just something I was thinking about as well. Let's get into the reviews. The reviews this time around is about one of the reveals we got in the stories of the news in Star Wars this week, which was Kylo Ren being the chosen one in The Last Jedi by Luke Skywalker. Personally, as a review, I think that was way too much of a reveal. That type of reveal should have been made and kept secret, whether it was speculated or not, until The Last Jedi. That only just creates more cemented ideas of where the story is headed. This story does not need real obvious ideas to sell itself. Star Wars is just so big that it can be kept in such a dark mystery until the last moment and still be a box office hit, which I'm sure it's going to be anyway. But for it to be a real box office hit the second time around, the second part, it needs to be more shrouded in mystery than ever. So I think the chosen one, being Kylo Ren by Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, was too much revealed by sources in the last week in the Star Wars news. But, like any Star Wars fan, I love the information. I'll hear the information and dissect it like all of us Star Wars fans do. Anyway, so that's the reviews this time around. Let's get into the interviews. It's a 2Q interview where I ask myself 2 questions for you guys out there and for myself as well, just to sort of put it out there. First question: is tie-ins versus originals in characters or storylines in The Last Jedi good? Or what's better? I think what's lacking in Star Wars is tie-ins, like things that we know from way in the past, like in the prequels or the originals, and working them a bit more with an added storyline in these sequels from The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Episode 9. Episode 8, which is The Last Jedi, needs a lot of tie-ins, so things are starting to work itself out. Like Maz Kanata, a bit of a backstory. She's been around for thousands of years apparently. We need more information story-wise about that. That being said, she's apparently going to get less airtime than in The Force Awakens, which concerns me a little, but we need some more cemented ideas. Especially Snoke. You know, we need more backstory on that guy. We need to know why he's possibly vulnerable, why he has guards that look like, the Emperor Palpatine's. I've got a feeling he's biting ideas from the Emperor. I think he's a person that doesn't really think well for himself, but he's a leader. Anyway, so I think we need more tie-ins, and with the original characters that we're going to get to know, the Porgs, the Praetorian Guards, Snoke, bring them on, but not inundate us. Because one of the problems by doing that is that you can get lost in the confusion with too many things happening. So keep the originals flowing for forward thinking in Star Wars, but bring in the tie-ins a bit more so we can, feel the connectivity. Okay, so next question. Is Disney becoming like the Empire in Star Wars? Like, becoming this ruling thing that just doesn't care about anyone but themselves? Is Disney becoming that? I'm cautious, but I think they're doing good. Let them rock the joint as they are, and they're doing well. My criticism is that they are a bit conservative at times with storytelling and marketing, but I think they're bringing an integrity to their storytelling as well. So I am still going to be cautious, like all of us Star Wars fans are. We know that this Disney thing is really a kids company that has become cool with Marvel, has become cool with Star Wars. We just got to keep an eye on them. I do like it. I think Kathleen Kennedy's doing great work, and the directors, the story writers, from Pablo, Ryan Johnson, J.J. Abrams, everything. It's working out well, but I'm wishing they don't get too ahead where they just have an overruling factor, because that will become very uninteresting. But anyway, so far so good by Disney becoming an empire. They are becoming an empire, but I'm wishing that is for the greater of good than evil. Sort of like Star Wars. Anyway, so that is the interviews for this time around. That was 2 questions. And until next time, you can subscribe to this anytime. It's free. You get Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews by myself. My name is David Zaman, aka Deers. And until next time, keep rocking.